In my view, the best way is to show it through a very neutral exhibition and with a lot of information, and then people can make up their own minds. And I'm not trying to convince anybody, but they learn and read, and then they leave the exhibition in wonder. So yeah, they're just gone, and I was devastated by it. But then I thought, okay, I cried for an hour, and then I thought I'm going to make an even better one. The closer you come to the truth, the more people are trying not to let it happen.
So, well, they're so secretive because they're not proud of who they are, and they're heels, and they're cowards, and they're criminals. The message was, beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but still time. Believe there is good out there. We oppose deception. Conduit closing.
There are 3 daily habits that are destroying your memories, and you will lose 10% of your brain by the age of 55 and 20% of your brain by the age of 75. It'll actually shrink if you do not do something about this. There is a free workshop that you can partake in where you'll learn what these 3 habits are, how to fix it, and how to regain your memories. There's a link below in the description on how to sign up. Be sure to sign up. It's free information. Welcome to Business Game Changers. I'm Sarah Westall. As everyone knows, the deep state or the powers that be are really trying to keep things controlled. There's a pattern going on for years where scientists are being shut down. People who are bringing information to light that they don't want are being censored and shut down. It's actually really scary. The more I look into it, it's happening so much. It's almost on hyperdrive right now. And I was made aware of a situation where the Crop Circle Research Center was vandalized and they stole all their information. Or not all, but a lot of their information, their computer equipment, their fax and data, like about 6,000 pounds, whatever the conversion rate is. And I have the owner coming on of the center, Monique Klinkenbergh, along with Patty Greer, who knows her very well and have shared a lot of situations out in the crop circles and things over the years. And they're going to come on and talk about what happened with the research center, why they think people are stealing and trying to suppress this information, and also talk about the other things that have been going on over the years with information getting out on this topic. It's really eye-opening because it's so hard to understand why something so public, they're working hard to suppress it. And what they're doing, really, because the only way to really suppress it is to make anybody that looks into it, make them feel like they're a joke, that the whole thing is a joke, and that they're really made with these boards. And I'm going to show you a little clip of some things that show you that it's just not possible. So anybody who has an open mind, or at least have intellectual honesty, will be able to say, wait a minute, there's something here. And take a look at a few of these things. In doing research of crop circles, I've come across a couple things that I just can't wrap my head around, and no explanation has been good enough to show me that they could be made by a normal human being without something extraordinary going on. And here's a few examples. The complexity of these crop circles and the size. I mean, some of these are over a few thousand feet long, acres wide. They also are made very, very quickly. The center, like Monique, who I'm interviewing in this show, she goes every day and looks at these crop circles and sees what new ones are there. She flies in a plane and sees. And there have been reports of pilots and observers in these planes going one direction and there not being a crop circle, and then coming back on their hour trip and suddenly there being a crop circle. So that means that it was made in 20, 30 minutes. I just don't think it's possible for people to do it that quickly without something amazing going on. Other things, when you look at the stalks, the nodes are elongated and they can be bent, and you can see it here, versus the man-made ones, where they're using the boards. And here's a picture of the person with a board. They have broken nodes, and you can see it here. Man-made ones have broken nodes, and the other ones have these elongated nodes. There's very different. And then claiming that they make them with boards, it doesn't make sense, because you look at the woven stalks, they weave them together, and you can see these different ways that they're weaving them together. How do you weave these together with boards in a fast, in a short amount of time? I can't understand it. The other thing that's even more crazy is the seeds that are in these crop circles germinate faster and with less water. This is some of the science that Patty Greer exposed in her latest film, Crop Circle Diaries, where the seeds are germinating faster with less water. The soil doesn't have to be as good. It's a key to how we can improve agriculture and we can feed more people on the planet. And there are many other anomalies too. And I want to forward you to a great video on this from Janet Osabard. There's a link here below in the video description of that particular video. It talks about a bunch of different anomalies and how it's not possible for crop circles to be man-made. And I also want to thank Janet for allowing me to use some of these images. Now, after you look at that, it's really hard to say that there isn't something here. Scientists and universities have studied it and they can't figure out how these things are made. So it's being intellectually dishonest to just laugh it off and say it's a big joke. In fact, you're hurting yourself and others by laughing it off and saying it's a joke, because there's something here that people don't want us to see. So I'm bringing on Monique and Patty, and they're going to first talk about the situation that happened at the center, and then they're going to talk about more stuff. But before I get into that, I want to talk about a few things. The paleo diet, people are really confused as to how to eat. I mean, you listen to all these experts and it gets really confusing. And even when you do, the more experts you listen to, it's so difficult to figure out what you should actually be eating. So I've been talking to a chef that's really knowledgeable about the paleo diet. Her name is Camille Macrays, and she has this whole series where she helps people make food that's healthy for you and your family and teaches you how to do it in an easy way with recipes that are very easy to do. And I think a lot of people need this in order to help them get on track. I've done a lot of shows on health. They have the big health summit, and it's just so hard. And, it's hard for me. It's hard for a lot of people. So maybe for those who this helps, it will be something that can really help you and your family get healthier. I have the link below for her and to learn more about what she's doing for people. And so one other thing that I want to share with you is the site that's going up to teach people about cannabis. Everything is free, not just for a month, and it's not free and then they're going to try to sell you something after you watch a video, which I am fine with as well, giving you free information and then selling you something that's really great. And you can decide after seeing this free information whether you want it or not. But this thing, their whole site is free. They have this huge library of things that they've been doing over the years, and they've been doing summits showing information, but now they're releasing everything publicly for free. And it's all sorts of information about cannabis, from the science behind it, how to make money in the cannabis market, what are all the different benefits of cannabis, not just of when people are deathly ill and the fact that it helps you with nausea and those things. There's so many other benefits to cannabis. And so this site has the most knowledge of anything in the world all in one site, and you can get all that for free. You just need to sign up as a member, and that's it, and you'll have it free. And I have the link below to that as well, and I want to get that word out because it's such a great service to everybody to bring this all to people for free. And I also want to tell you before I get into this interview, Patty and Monique stay to answer another question on some of the fun experiences that they've had. They want to share this one experience where they see these they're not called orbs, they're called lights, where these light beings come out of it. It's really an interesting thing. And that's for my Patreons. You can sign up for as little as $1 a month. And I want to thank everyone who supports this show, my Patrons, and also those who subscribe and watch this on a daily basis and share these videos. You are the reason why my show is growing, and I want to thank you so much for everything that you do. And keep coming in with those suggestions. Most of my guests are coming through suggestions that I'm getting from my Patrons or from others that watch this show on a regular basis. So thank you so much. Now let's get into the interview with Monique Klinkenbergh and Patty Greer. Hi, Patty and Monique. Thank you so much for joining the show.
Thank you.
I'm glad
Nice
to have
be
you.
Here.
Yes, well, I'm glad you both are here. I wanted to talk to Monique because she runs the Crop Circle Center, and you had a terrible break-in, and they stole a lot of things. So I want to talk about that, what the center's for, all those things, and then talk about some of your shared experiences. Can we get into, Monique, what you do and what the Crop Circle Center is?
Yes, the Crop Circle Center is a platform for people who want to learn about crop circles, but also for the researchers or the scientists. And I started in the Netherlands, but then I moved to the heart of Crop Circle County, which is Wiltshire in Britain. And I have an annual Crop Circle Center over there with a large exhibition. And it's a place to meet and greet and to learn and try to learn about crop circles.
Well, how much of it is scientific based? Because that's the whole thing. Because, they've worked really hard to make crop circles into a joke with those people on those boards and things. And I did a little clip before this interview started showing some of the reasons why that's just a farce. But how are you combating that and showing people this is amazing?
Yeah, what we actually did with the exhibition, which premiered at the Museum in Devizes in Wiltshire, is showing just the facts. Many facts are not known to the public, so we call the first exhibition the Unknown Facts. And just by showing facts and huge pictures and really educating people, learning about crop circles, it works. So we come up with the evidence, and we just show it to the people, and then you see people think, okay, is this really happening? And then things are starting, the coin drops. There's more going on than just people with planks and ropes.
Because anybody with an open mind looking at this phenomena has to come out going, wait a minute, there's something really going on here. Because when I first started looking at it, my son was so embarrassed seeing anything that said crop circles on it. He was just like mortified. He was embarrassed. I'm like, well, and he's very bright. So if he opens his mind and looks at it, he's not going to be mortified anymore. He'll probably be really, into it. But that's the reality that we face, is that people it's still that joke factor around it. When in reality, anybody with an open mind and some critical thinking looks at it and says, oh my gosh, this is something that is real, and what the heck, and who's creating it and why?
Yeah, that's exactly, so to say, my mission. I think there's a story to be told. And so far, in my view, the best way is to show it through a very neutral exhibition and with a lot of information, and then people can make up their own minds. And I'm not trying to convince anybody, but they learn and read, and then they leave the exhibition in wonder, so to say. So it's slowly but surely something is happening, but it takes time.
Well, especially when you're counteracting the money that was placed into making it into a joke. I mean, they placed a lot more money on propaganda, making this into a joke. Wouldn't you say?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're ridiculing it until today. They're trying everything.
Yeah, we're a bunch of nut jobs. Okay, so my question for you is your place was just broken into. They completely ransacked it and stole a lot of your stuff. What did they take and why and what's going on? First of all, what did they take? What happened?
Well, some crucial and vital things, like if you want to create a real professional exhibition, you need the digital projections, the photo frames. We have the crop circle sound, so to say. You can hear it with headphones. All those electronics are gone. Some displays are gone, some photos are gone. Well, the real crucial and vital things of the exhibition. Oh, my cat is now passing. They're just gone, and I was devastated by it. But then I thought, okay, I cried for an hour, and then I thought I'm going to make an even better one instead of.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way you have to look at it, because they knock you down, you get back up. But my question is, how much of that was like critical stuff versus just, we can redo it, it's not that big of a deal?
Of course, I have everything in my computer, all the content. But money-wise, it has been a huge thing for me. At least £500-600 are gone, and I'm doing this on a non-profit base, so I'm already dealing with a money problem, so to say. But this, on top of everything, was just too much.
Well, okay, so why do you think they're doing this? Because Patty had the same issue where they destroyed her films, her basic. But there's a lot of information out there. There's other people that are doing good work in crop circles. Why do you think they're targeting you too? Because Patty's films were on the edge of change, and the edge of disruption and bringing something to the forefront. And it seems that you are too. Now, what specific things do you have that they're going after?
I don't know. I think Patty and I are just determined to go on. And there is a pattern that the people who are really determined and who are looking for the truth and are not about to give up, they get really problems. I've been, I had quite some problems over the past 10 years.
Are you making a difference? Is that what they don't like? Are you changing hearts and minds and soul? How many people see your center on a regular basis?
Ooh, it depends. Like last year, I had in 1 month time 5,000 visitors, but that was only on the ground. But I mean, on the internet, there are of course much more people looking at it. So I just
and it's professional. It's done professionally.
Yeah.
You present yourself in a way that's professional, and it's not. People look at you and they look at the information and they're like, This is not a bunch of whack jobs. This is real. And wow, look at this information. So you're changing the mindset. Now, Patty, why do you think they went after you so hard? Because your story, I mean, you, not only was your life work attacked, you were actually physically attacked with energy weapons, which we did a whole show on that. Why are they so hell-bent on taking you down?
Well, I think that Monique and I, the difference in us and a lot of other actors or filmmakers is that Monique and I spent lots of time in crop circles, and we were so committed that we even went in them at night, at dusk, in the rain, in the dark. Most people wouldn't do that are normal, generic humans. Monique and I, the minute we got in, I know me, my first crop circle, little hairs went up on my arms. I was like, oh, whatever this is, I want more. And so Monique and I were like the fearless girls. I remember at dusk, we went in to a crop circle, and we were just walking in, and it was the Avebury Manor. And it was just a simple, like an orbit crop circle, but it appeared to be missing Pluto. So everybody's whispering, oh, Pluto's missing and all this drama. And meanwhile, it was this great crop circle. It's on the cover of one of my films, Crop Circle Update, The Wake Up Call. But Monique and I had been in there during the day. We'd both probably flown over and filmed it. I know I did in 2010. And so that evening, one of us said, let's go in it at night. And I remember you said, it's nighttime. And I said, yeah, let's do it. So off we go, and it's dusk, it's twilight, and Monique and I are heading in. And again, I'm explaining that we are true experiencers as compared to people doing research. I think this is what makes us scary, is that we've had so many real experiences that we're not copying misinformation. This really happened. So we're walking down Avery Manor Road, and I said, ooh, a shortcut. And she goes, no way, I'm not going in. And she's, 6 feet tall almost, so she could obviously see it was a foolish move. But I go down the trail at 5'2", and I'm going in, and the wheat's getting nice and tall, and I got to the center, and we were still wearing daytime clothing because it was warm, and I've got this skirt on and a little proppy top, sleeveless, and I look down, and it's twilight. Now I'm in the center of this crop circle, and the moon's coming up, and Monique's still walking down the road, coming in a proper entrance to the crop circle that humans had walked in all during the day. So now I'm looking at this skirt, my black skirt, and it's got huge white polka dots all over it, and I thought, what the heck is on my skirt? And I'm looking down, and all of a sudden I realized they're on my shirt, and one of them started crawling toward my head. And I realized I had walked through some kind of a major spider web, and I was covered. And Monique was down there just, walking in the smart way. But here I am in the middle of a crop circle, covered in, they were the size of tarantulas, I'm not exaggerating. And there were many, many, many of them. And all I remember was staying calm, taking my clothing and leaving it on the ground and watching these white dots move away in the almost darkness. What was I like when you found me and I put my clothes back on? Because they all left and I shook them. I was like, but I still was calm.
Yeah.
Who does that? Do you remember
Not
that?
me. If I had spiders all over me, I am not sure if... Oh, my God. Okay. But okay, now that being said, so you not only are researchers, but you experience it and you've really gotten into it, but there has to be more, because there's a lot of people that, you had to have hit a nerve. And do you think it's the fact that you have on film the orbs? Do you think it's the seeds? You got to some research on the seeds that they didn't want out there. What is it?
I think the closer you come to the truth, the more people are trying not to let it happen, so to say, in my words. There is, I can't, I don't know who is doing it, but they're trying to, not to let it happen. That the closer we get, the more problems we get.
And you said that you've had issues for years. So what kind of issues have you had?
Oh, so many. And for example, I'm flying from the Netherlands to Wiltshire, and I had 3 times in a row that I was the only person on the plane that my luggage was didn't arrive. And with the 3rd time, I stood there again, and the person who was dealing with this missing luggage said, "Hey, you there again?" And then suddenly I realized this is normal. Things like that, or being followed, or being bullied on the internet, and that was the worst thing that happened to me. I really trusted a friend, he presented himself as a researcher. And I really trusted him. And then he got as much information as possible. And then he tried to, to make me stop my works. It's a long story, but he was really an influential guy. Presenting him as a friend, and he turned out to be a real enemy. That was really horrible.
It's just so strange. The whole phenomena to me is very strange. it seems that, there's so many of these things are made. They're made all over the world, correct? It's just they tend to be more in that area, but they're all over the world.
Yes, it's a global phenomenon, and Wiltshire is the epicenter. But I think so far we have now registered at least 10,000 to 14,000 crop circles worldwide.
It's just so weird. And some of them are man-made, obviously, because you can go in, you can immediately tell because the way the nodes are broken, and it's just a different deal. But a lot, the ones that aren't, they're pretty amazing, aren't they?
Yeah, the real thing is pretty amazing. Well, that's an understatement. That's mind-blowing, the real thing.
Now, what kind of messages are they sending? Or is it just somebody out there? Is it just some entity out there having fun doing art? Or do you think that there's a purpose to it?
I think, at least in my view, there is a message, an overall message. But if I talk to people who have been in a crop circle or about my own experience, people can be very relaxed and happy. But you can also be very sick in a crop circle. There is one particular crop circle that I got a headache. I felt horrible. And still, if I look at that pattern, it still makes me ill. So it's all about patterns, and they do something with you. And but I think there's a personal side in it. And you just never can tell.
What are the theories that, the top theories on what these are for? I mean, you think there's some message, but what are we thinking? I mean, what are the top theories out there at this point?
Well, first of all, wake up. Like Patty, your first movie, wake up humanity, I think. What are we doing with the earth, for example? And there is also the extraterrestrial side. Maybe the extraterrestrials are trying to contact us. There are many, many theories. And it could be that many theories are working together. It could be that it is something within the earth, working together from above. I personally think the earth is much more involved than more people think. And there are those wonderful balls of light that we see hovering above the fields. And then there is this crazy things that it looks as if your thoughts are being picked up and being manifested in the field. I know it sounds strange, but that's what a lot of researchers and also croppies or people who visit crop circles are experiencing. They think about a certain thing, and then it happens in the field.
Wow. So like if they think about it the next day maybe, or that night, that vision they had is in the field?
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible. Okay. So what are some of the theories on why they're hiding it from us and who is hiding it from us?
I wish I could answer it. I mean, I think you're even better, maybe better in saying that, Patty. But there is definitely somebody somehow trying to stop us.
Yeah, but why? What do you think, Patty? What do you think it is? Because it's hard to have your whole life work, messed with, and people doing like stealing from you and then attacking you with energy weapons without that going across your mind. Like, why the heck are they doing this, and who's doing it?
Yeah. May I say just one thing? Because Patty, I received an email by somebody who said he was of the government and he needed to talk to me. And it was one of Team Satan, Patty. And I thought, okay. And but there had to be two conditions. I needed to come alone, and it needed to be under the Chatham House rule. I don't know if you are...
What's the Chatham House rule?
That means that everything that is been said in this conversation can't go outside. So I replied, first of all, I won't come alone. And then the reason I'm doing this is the transparency. So I'm not discussing things with you and not letting it out of the open. And then the information stops.
And who are you? Why are you more important than any other person that I'm talking with and meeting with? Why is the government more? Give me a reason why you have value to us and why it matters that you get to see something.
Yeah.
I'm like, who are you? Yeah. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah. Now, Patty, tell your story.
I think in the 1950s, they called this overall entity of frequency, the mob, the mafia. You know, in the old movies, it's just the bad guys on Earth are all around the planet doing bad things. Now it's come out that a lot of them are pedophiles and pedivores, which you featured on a lot of your shows. How about the perfect name, Team Satan? The worst of the worst. So now she got a letter from Team Satan. And I don't want to do my long story about their crop circle that they claimed, but it was a real crop circle. And on Colorado TV, NVIDIA TV claimed that beautiful, again, it was in California, a very rare location, but they'd had a couple crop circles in the same field, Team Satan. They use a perfect name, and those are human circle makers that go out with boards and ropes. Why my movies are a threat is because I was an experiencer. My first film, at the very end, I featured the Oliver's Castle footage where 2 balls of light laid the crop circle down in seconds. I did not film it. But Janet Osebard, who did the 10 Reasons in the beginning of the show, a very dear friend of both Monique and I, a wonderful crappie, totally dedicated, and she knows she knows what's going on. You know, again, the difference is that you're talking rather than researchers. And I don't call myself a researcher. If I had researched the famous material, I would have trashy movies full of so much misinformation. Instead, I filmed in the fields. I laid down, I woke up, I filmed in the fields. The people that were there relentlessly, day after day, I filmed them. So my movies are the real people in the real crop circles of southern England. And I want to briefly say the epicenter in Wiltshire is for 2 very distinct reasons, in my opinion. Historically, almost every crop circle has been sitting over an aquifer of water. Water is an important element of the frequencies building these crop circles. Another very important element is that they're always sitting over a ley line. When we look at all the crop circles located on the maps, which is why we go to the research center, used to be the Silent Circle. When he closed, luckily Monique opened Crop Circle Access exhibition. So people would go to her research center to see the map and know where to go to see a crop circle. Or you fly in the little planes and the pilots, they know exactly where they are, and they fly you over. But the misinformation pumped out, and I think, look at his people, Colin Andrews. I mean, you know, Colin is the one that said Oliver's Castle is fake, go back to sleep. He proved it without a shadow of a doubt on TV with the Nippon TV team and what he called the secret detectives. Probably the same kind of people that contacted Monique, and whatever, you know, they wanted to tell her in the room, she would behave and obey after that. I don't know. But when I'm told to come alone, that's the first sign, no thank you. And when they say everything's going to be non-transparent, it's like, well, take care. I'm not joining you at that party.
Well, the whole thing is,
a lot of
who
very
are
bizarre...
you? You know, you got to get to the point where you say, who are you? Why are you important to me? What is it that you're providing to mankind that matters? Just because you represent the government, I need to see that this is something that's beneficial to people. Yeah. Who are you and why? I don't care who you represent if you're not going to be doing it in a way that helps humanity.
Yeah.
Well, they're so secretive because they're not proud of who they are, and they're heels, and they're cowards, and they're criminals.